Hello, and welcome to Shane's Microscope. I'm Shane, and this is my microscope. Let's take a peek. Today's sample comes from this wall. Despite the cold temperatures, there's something green still growing on it. Is it moss, algae, lichen? I decided I wanted to find out. So I collected some of it with a Q-tip and put that onto a slide for us to investigate. Looking now under the microscope, we can see that we have a variety of things here. We've got dirt particles and debris of vegetation, but the thing we have the most of are these clusters of little tiny dots. So let's zoom in on one of those. We can see that they are indeed composed of little tiny cells. And now at high magnification, we can confirm that we have green algae. These are probably chlorophyta, comes from the Greek chloros for green and phyton for plant. And they're clearly what's responsible for most of that green color. Looking around, this little thread-like shape caught my eye. I believe this may be a dead nematode. That comes from the Greek nema for thread. As I continued to look around, this clump of things caught my eye, and as I zoomed in, these things stood out to me. They're definitely organic in nature, just from looking at the shape. And it turns out this is actually a pollen grain from a pine tree. I also noticed this leaf-looking thing. It's pretty clearly got some kind of serrated edge on the left and some kind of stem on the right side. I don't have any idea what this is from, but I'm guessing it's some small plant piece. And right next to it is this crazy looking thing, which if you recall from my expedition into dust, looks very familiar. It turns out, after some research, this is a stellate trichome. Stellate comes from the Latin stella for star, and trichome comes from the Greek thrix for hair. And trichomes are small growths on plants that can serve all kinds of purposes. They can act like sunscreen, they can reduce moisture loss, they can collect condensation from dew, they can annoy herbivores trying to eat the plant, etc. So, glad we finally know what this thing is. And growing on it is some other type of colony-forming green algae. I noticed a little bit of movement here, and there's a very active protist. I'm gonna guess from the way that it looks and the movement pattern that it's probably a flagellate, but he was moving really fast. I tried to look at him zoomed in. Oh, I think that's a conidium, a fungal spore. And that's about the best image I got of this little guy. And I chased him for a while, but it's kind of dizzying, so I decided to just leave most of that footage out. And then I noticed this interesting bit of movement over here. Something wiggling around. Zoomed in a bit more, we can tell that this is a rotifer, and I watched him for about 25-30 minutes, and he didn't extend his ciliated crown, but we can still see from the way that he's moving around that this is a deloid rotifer. That comes from the Greek Della meaning leech, because as you can see, he kind of looks like a leech, but definitely is not a leech. Zooming in on him, we can identify some classic rotifer features. We've got that jaw in there. We've got the rostrum in front as well. We've got the foot. The number of toes that are on the feet are an extremely important means of identifying rotifers. And we've got this dorsal antenna. That's a sensory apparatus. Well, even if he's not rotiferating, which is a term I just made up, even if he's not using that ciliated crown, I think it's still very interesting. It gives us an opportunity to identify something based on some other features. Look at him go. Alright, well, I think we'll leave it there for the day. Thanks for having a look with me. Until next time, keep on peeking.